everyone. My name is TraceyBoraas, and we're going to be talking about recruiting. Now, a quick survey with show of hands. How many of you are excellent recruiters? Look around. Yeah, a whole bunch. Okay, how many of you are really intimidated by recruiting? Okay. How many of you feel like you're the worst recruiter ever? All right. So you can see you're in good company. It's kind of a general feeling everyone has. Now, one of the reasons that I think we struggle as a group, primarily of women, with the recruiting is our mindset about recruiting. I think it's fair to say that we feel like perhaps we're taking advantage of other people, or we might not feel quite like we're okay with what we're doing when we're recruiting. How many of you feel kind of not too sure about why you're recruiting? Any of you feel kind of a little funny when you're asking people to join you? Okay, well, today what we're going to do, we're going to talk about your mindset and how important that is and changing your mindset. Then I'm going to show you or talk to you about a few tips that I use that make it kind of fun, a fun way to do that, and some techniques. But to begin with, I'm going to show you how important your mindset is when you're recruiting. So I'm going to need some volunteers to help out up here. So, volunteers. Okay, we'll start with you. Come on up here. And you're going to be too fast. Come on up here. Kathy, come on up. Okay. All right. Now I have to try to manipulate all my devices at the same time here. Okay, and you are Annalise. Can you read your card, please, into the mic?
Your mission, should you choose to accept, is
to build the largest house you can with these Legos before the music ends.
All right, thank you. Now, Kathy, can you show us the house that you built?
Not very big.
Oh, okay. But ladies, stay up here. Ladies, stay up here. Okay, and Kathy, how did you feel when you were starting?
Oh, I felt like I could do this.
Okay, and how'd you feel as you kept going?
I felt like I didn't have an Aussie partner.
Okay. Did you feel isolated?
Yes, and alone.
Did you have fun by yourself?
No.
Okay. Would you rather build a house by yourself or with support of others?
With support of others. You know what? This is really good, by the way.
Yeah, no, thank you, Kathy. Okay, and how did you feel?
wonderful. I thought at first, okay, I didn't even look over to see how much Kathy had done because I was trying to do it on my own. And then I just said thank you to them because I didn't even look up to see who had joined me. I just saw hands, and it was great. And, you know, we were deciding somebody get the side, somebody get the top, somebody get a window. So it was wonderful.
Okay. And how did you feel? Did you feel like you were taken advantage of?
No, I felt like I was being helpful.
Okay. And how did you feel being part of a team?
It was wonderful.
Were you having fun?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And how did you feel, Judy?
I felt a little disloyal to Kathy, but...
Okay. But were you all having fun?
Yes.
Okay. And is it better to work as a team?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Did you guys get to see everything?
Okay, so you saw the visual, and I mean, we could just really end right here with that whole concept. But the idea of why we do this and your mindset is when you're by yourself, so much is going on. You're trying to do the whole job by yourself, and you're feeling isolated. And Kathy, did you ever look over here and resent her just a little bit?
No.
Oh, you didn't? Well, that's good. Okay.
I kind of thought, geez, you guys, it's a lot. Why aren't you?
Okay. But when you're working in a team, the team members that were coming on, they did not feel like they were being taken advantage of, that this was a bad deal for them. They were having fun. They knew they were helping someone. They were helping to build something. That's the mindset we need as we're growing our teams, is that we're helping each other. And so the biggest thing we need, the biggest key to recruiting is your mindset. There's no secret about it. If you don't feel good about why you're recruiting, you cannot recruit. So you need to come to terms with why you're recruiting. Okay, there are two reasons to recruit, two mindsets. And both of them are okay. The first one is the you focus. You are building a business. Many of you may be supporting your family on that. So it is okay to think, well, I need to recruit. There are a lot of reasons you need to recruit. You have limited energy. You have limited ability. You only have 2 hands. You can't do it all by yourself very successfully or as successfully as if you have a team. You develop leadership skills when you are recruiting. You make more money when you're recruiting. Okay? And those are all good things. Those are okay. But you need to keep those in balance, because if it's all about you, it's going to come through in your recruiting efforts. A better approach, a better mindset is to make it about other people. When you come to terms with it, it's about other people and what you can do for other people, your recruiting will start to come naturally. Believe it or not, it will feel good to offer our business to other people. It felt good for this group of people here to work together. So as you're thinking about others, think of how this can fill needs for them. We don't know what their needs are. It may be a need for more money. It may be a need to get out and connect with other people. It may be a need for recognition. But you can offer that to them and think about what you can offer them. It's about others. Financial freedom, helping them develop personally. There's a lot of reasons. But with that other mindset, it takes the focus off of you, and then things just start happening. The most crucial thing about recruiting is truly to believe in why. And if you're struggling to recruit, stop. Take a step back and think, why am I really trying so hard to recruit right now? What is my main goal? Is it about me? Yes, we want to earn the trip. We want to get to that next level. Then it starts to become about us. Again, that's a side benefit. But turn it around to how many lives can we really touch? Do you believe that? When you believe it, it comes across in your recruiting. Okay, so we're going to look at some tips with an acronym, BELIEVE. BELIEVE steps to recruiting. The first one is B. And by the way, the notes are on page 37. I forgot to let you know that. An acronym, BELIEVE. B is to be proactive. By this I mean fill your calendar. This is not trick-or-treating and people are going to come to your door and ring your doorbell and sign up. You need to have your calendar full. You need to work your business. If you're not working your business, it's just not going to grow. So you also then need to be going where the business is. You need to get out and meet people. We have many different venues with this business, but chances are you're not going to recruit your librarian. Your 2 primary places to recruit are at booths and home shows, and home shows really is the best place because there people see what you are actually doing. E, engage others. Don't be afraid to talk to people, whether you're at a home show or at a booth. I've been at booths many times where there's other consultants for other businesses, and they're hiding in the back corner. They're afraid to talk. Okay, so engage people sincerely. Ask about them. Get to know them. It's just being friendly. And when you're being friendly and getting to know them, then you can determine what their needs are. You can really target in on what they need. L is for listen. You don't need to be doing all the talking. You need to be listening. In any situation, whether you're at a booth or at a home show, your ears can just tune in and file away a little conversation. So when you do have the opportunity, you know perhaps that somebody has just gotten to a home show late because they had some situation with their daycare they had to take care of. And they've had it, they want to be able to stay home. Or the refrigerator just broke down and they don't know how they're going to pay for it. You know, these are things you can file away and then you could talk to them later. Again, focusing on what their needs are. Just use that as a tool to strike up a conversation. I is for identify. You need to be identifiable. Your guests need to be able to relate to you. Your customers need to be able to relate to you. Quick story on that is I have a downline team member, and we had a great relationship Until one day she calls me up and she goes, "Did you know you're an author?" And I'm like, well, yeah. She goes, "You never told me that you have books published." And I'm like, well, yeah, it's not a big deal. And then I get an email later, and she goes, "So how many books do you have published?" I'm like, okay. So I didn't talk about it because suddenly when I did tell her that I have had 30 children's books published, then she suddenly decided she couldn't do the business anymore because she couldn't relate to me. And that's something I don't talk about in home shows. I talk about my kids who are driving me crazy, or this thing or that thing. And so, you want to be, you're just the person next door. You want them to be able to identify that you're just like them. If they think you're an expert, if your home show is maybe too polished, they don't think they can do that either. It intimidates them. So just be an average person. E is for everyone. Everyone's a potential recruit. Have any of you prejudged? Any of you guilty of this? I've done it before. Yeah. You look at someone like, well, that person would never be a consultant. And then, you might really be surprised. Maybe they've gone through a divorce and now they need to supplement their own income. Or maybe they're in retirement and they don't have enough money to retire on. We don't know what their needs are, but I think we are often guilty of prejudging people, so we don't offer the opportunity to them. And then V is for use your voice. Find it and use it carefully. Think about the words you're going to use. I think we know some of the steps to do, but then when it gets right to that point, we just don't know what to say to people. So here's some things you might say. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? It's really very easy to say that. If you need to, practice it in front of a mirror. Just have that little script written down and repeat it so it starts to come out naturally. It's okay. The worst thing they're going to do is say no, and that's okay. But if you don't ask, the answer is already no. And then you take that step to close the deal. If they say, yeah, I've thought about it, well, many times then you just leave it and drop it, and you don't follow up. So use your voice, follow up. And another thing I do at this point, sometimes I say, after I've had a little conversation, I'll say, so, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, how close where would you put yourself? And they might say, oh, I'm an 11. Okay, we're ready to go, ready to sign up. Or someone may say, oh, I'm a 2 or 3. And then we can get into a discussion about why they're at that point. But it's okay to use very careful questions and follow up, so you're not just leaving them hanging there. And then E, encourage. If they decide to sign up, start encouraging them by get your shows going, 6 shows in your first 4 weeks. Telling them about the training and the support they're going to have available, that they can call you for questions, and so on. So encourage them right from the beginning to get going. Don't forget about them. Help them get started. Okay, so we're going to talk now about just some recruiting techniques that I use. The first is at booths. How many of you do booths? Okay. How many of you feel comfortable talking to people at booths? Okay. Well, here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to, does anyone have a door prize slip? Okay, these are really helpful at a booth. Plus, you should have a sign. I'd recommend you have a sign. I have downline team members who will do a booth and they will not have any sign about the business. And so just have a sign there because that will pull in some interest. But if you see somebody looking at your sign-up booth or your sign, that help wanted or business opportunity, that's an opportunity to step up and engage them in a conversation. Another thing you could do is you could take this clipboard and you could say, we're having a shopping spree that we're giving away. Would you like to sign up for it? And you hand it to them like that. If you just say, would you like to sign up for this? And you're standing back and you're kind of keeping to yourself, chances are you're conveying a message to them and they're going to just walk on by you. If you say something like, have you had an opportunity to register for our door prize? If they say no, you can continue with that conversation. If they say no, you can say, well, you want to make sure you get your name in for our giveaway. The way I worded it to Judy was not right, actually, because I said, have you had a chance? Would you like to? If you say, would you like to, and they say no, you can't go anywhere with that. You need to say, have you had a chance to? And then you can go on with that. Okay. The other thing at booths, be proactive. You have a sign up there. That's the first thing. They know there's an opportunity. If you see somebody looking at that sign, that's a time when you can just walk up to them real casually and start a conversation. Don't pounce on them. I have also seen consultants drive people out of their booth, chase them around the booth. You don't want to do that. They get a real bad feeling right away. So if you just strike up a casual conversation, I see you're looking at my sign. Are you looking for some kind of business opportunity like this? You know, just strike up a conversation that's non-threatening, and then give them a little space. And if they're still lingering around, you know, you can follow up on that. But that's being proactive, taking advantage of the opportunity when you see it, keeping your eyes open in your booth. The primary place that you will recruit is at your home shows. And I like to do this a couple different ways depending on the show itself and if it's a repeat group of hostesses, guests, and so on. You need to kind of change things up so they stay entertained. So one thing I'll be doing is I'll go through my home show demo, and about halfway through, I'll say something like this. So who has that little green card? Could you read that green card for me, please? Read it nice and loud. Oops, wait a minute. Come up here and read the card for me. Okay.
Tell me, Tracy, why do you love being an Usborne consultant?
Well, Judy, I'm so glad you asked. And I just kind of ham it up. But I honestly do. I put this right out there. You know, so I'll interrupt my show and I'll say, oh, it's time for a commercial. Who has my green card? And then I'll have them read it and I'll just ham it up. And then they laugh and it's just out there. Okay, so they feel like, oh, you know what's going to come. I've been to enough home shows. They're going to ask me something. Just put it right out there. And so this gives me a chance to talk about my business just for a little bit. And then I'll say, and you know, we could talk more about this later. Okay, so I give them a commercial right in the middle of my home show. So that's one way you can do that at your home show. Then another way is with the door prize slip. Okay, we all have these, and I recommend that you use them. It's a great way to gather information for your IMN newsletter and so on, but it's also a really great recruiting tool. So what I do with this is I don't give this out till the end because otherwise they fill it out. No, 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 no. Because then they got that off there. It's like, that lady isn't going to bother me. And that's what they think. Okay, so when it gets to this point, the end of the show, I'll say, okay, now we're going to have a little exercise on following directions. Okay, so you're going to get a ticket every time you follow directions. So what I want you to do is fill in the top information down to your email address. And then raise your hand, and as soon as you do that, you're going to get a ticket. Okay, a ticket for, and I may be giving away free shipping, or it kind of depends on, you know, I just change things up. So it might be free shipping. Okay, so and then we're going to have all the hands up. And then I work through the questions in order. Are you interested in receiving free books for hosting an Usborne Books and Home or More party? And I'll say, stop. Okay. Now, before you all put down no, and then I talk them through that, the maybe or the yes options. Okay, and then I go on to the next question. Would you like more information about making money along with what you currently do? And then right away, you know they're going to screw. Many of them want to just put down no, and I'm like, stop. Okay, now before you circle no, I want to talk a little bit about why I do my business. And for every question you ask, you're going to get a ticket. So first I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I like my business, and then you can ask me any question you want about my business. And then I pull out my little why bag. And so I tell them, I have this why bag. It helps me remember some of the things that I love about my business. And then I'll pull things out like this, and I'll say, who can guess what this means? Anyone here? It was my former boss. Okay. Wicked Witch, my former boss. And I usually have about 6 things in here. And then I pull out this rock. And this gets to their heart. And I tell them the story about a girl who came to my booth last year. 3rd time she had come. And, well, I see if they can guess what this rock means. And nobody can. And she lingered in my booth for about 10 minutes. She was a very discerning shopper. She's about 8 years old. And she finally picked up a chapter book and a sticker book. And she came over to buy it from me. And I turned to her father, who had been waiting patiently. And I said, is it okay if she buys these? And he said, it's her money. She picked rock all summer so she could come back to your booth and buy books. Okay? That gets to their heart. So they can see some of the reasons that I do this business, and then I open it up and say, okay, now a lot of you are too polite to ask me, but I know you have questions. Everybody has questions about what I do. So I open it up, and it might take a little prompting, but then people start asking me questions. And I start passing out those tickets. And you know what? It's the person then, somebody gets on a roll. They start asking more questions. And guess who is my next recruit? It's that person who's asking those questions. They have just had this opening to have this discussion. Other people are hearing it. And there might be people who don't want to talk, but they're hearing the answers about my business. What is required, what they can get out of it, the trips they can earn. They're hearing all these things. Okay? So then I gather up the tickets and I gather up their drawing slips. So this is the last step. How am I doing for time? Okay. So the last step is then I have these. We do the door prize drawing. And then as we are checking out, I go through these and I sort them, the ones that have yeses and maybes and the ones that have nos. And as I'm working through their orders, I take a little look over at each sheet that corresponds. And I ask everybody the questions again. If they have no, I go ahead and I say, have you ever thought about doing something like this? I kind of conveniently forget that they put down no. You want to give them another chance because maybe I've had people who put down no, and they really mean yes. And they will start asking questions. Well, I'd love to do this, but. And I kind of feel like they're wanting me to help them get through that but. Without any type of manipulation. They really want it to work, and they want you to help them figure out how it could work into their lives. And you really are focusing on them. They want something in their life, and they're hoping you can help them. But they put down no because they don't see the way. So you can still help them. And then if it's a maybe or a yes, I follow up with setting an appointment. We could talk a little bit right there, and I could tell them, I'd love to talk more with you about this. I have some information you could take home. I'm not going to stalk you, so let's set an appointment time. And so we set an appointment right then, and I confirm it. Okay, so I'm going to call you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And so we both write that down. So we have an appointment, and here is the final thing you have to do. Whether you have these lead slips or you have these, this is the scariest part of all, is you have to actually pick up the phone that next day and call. If you wait 2-3 days, the longer you wait, the more the window of opportunity is closing for you. I rushed out of a home show one night, had one of those days, and all the way out, the hostess was, let me help you, let me help you. And how much do you make? And is this something I could do? And honest to goodness, I got in the car, and I was chatting with her. I got in the car, I drove home, and it was about 3 in the morning. I woke up, I missed that opportunity. I totally was in another zone. I called her that day, and she goes, I was really interested, but about 20 minutes ago I signed up with Pampered Chef. So, you know, you need to tune in. But I'm letting you know, we probably all dropped the ball at some point, and I've dropped a lot of balls. So it happens to everyone. But the key thing is take advantage of those opportunities. When people are interested, they're interested right now. So I want to just leave you with this. Follow up right away. And just remember to always focus on other people. That night that I dropped the ball, I wasn't thinking about my hostess. I was thinking about all the stuff I'd left at home. My mind was not in the game. And that mother needed something, and I didn't give it to her. So our mindset, it is possible. It can be really easy to recruit people. It really, truly can if your heart is focused on them. People pick up on it. They pick up on your motives. So I encourage you, when you are thinking about recruiting, and if you are struggling with it, just stop yourself and think, who am I really thinking about here? If you turn your mindset to other people and what you can offer them, you're going to become a really awesome recruiter. It is possible. So now I'm going to open it up to any questions. Anyone have questions? I think we have a minute or two left. Questions?
So my question is, if you get the recruits, and how do you keep them interested? Because I think that that's something that a lot of us have problems with, is recruiting someone and then they lose interest.
Okay, did we all hear the question? If we recruit somebody and then they lose interest right away. And that may be a pretty standard issue. How many people agree that they recruit and people lose interest? Okay, there is a certain amount of that, and that is just going to happen, but I think you can overcome some of that by really connecting with them, encouraging them to come to you for support. If you get going with them right away, you help them get up and get started right away, then they're more inclined to keep going. If they wait to do their first home show because they have that 12-week window, the longer they wait, the bigger the chances are they're never going to do anything. So one thing you could do is right away help them say, first thing we want to do is get your own kickoff party set, and then just stay in touch with them. And I'm sure there is probably another workshop that specifically focuses on your team success. But the key thing is getting them up right away so they feel successful. The longer they wait, I think the more intimidated and afraid they start feeling. Let's see if I can reach you.
If someone says no, do you ever go back and retouch them at any future months, or do you just kind of?
Okay, so the question is, we're not going to reach back there. The question is, if somebody says no, do you follow up again later?
Yeah, you call them the next day and they're still no.
Have they given you a reason to think it might be yes at any point? Okay, so if somebody says no to you and they're pretty firm about that, there would not really be, if you explore that with them and their no is a real no, then you have other things to do with your time.
This isn't karaoke, is it?
No.
Okay. All right. What's the best way to let them know about their initial investment, like how much it's going to cost them?
Okay, the question is what is the best way to let them know about how much it's going to cost them? Okay. I don't talk about how much the kit cost. And when we get down to when they're serious, then we'll discuss that. Because if they want it, it doesn't matter if it's $500. They will find the money. And that is another thing. Our kit is an awesome value. I know people who start home businesses and they'll put up $2,000, $3,000. They'll take out small business loans to start the type of business we do. So that really is a non-issue. If they're serious about doing their business, they will find that money to get started. Hello, everyone. My name is TraceyBoraas, and we're going to be talking about recruiting. Now, a quick survey with show of hands. How many of you are excellent recruiters? Look around. Yeah, a whole bunch. Okay, how many of you are really intimidated by recruiting? Okay. How many of you feel like you're the worst recruiter